Okay, drip rail is not in, but it's fitted. Okay, it is fitted. I went through and I got 3 rivets in there, and I got this bad boy all fiddled up, and she's fixed up. Now here on these ends, there's a little piece, about a 1-inch piece, that crosses over and connects these two, and it gets pinched in. I've got a little bit of a dip right here. I just got to work that out, but I'm not going to do that until I get all these spot rivets welded. I got 3 aluminum 1/4-inch rivets just holding it in place so that I can go through and take my time and really put the spot welds in. And then the situation over here, as you see, I've got this front panel in on the cab skin. Okay, the upper cab skin is all done. I've just got to touch up a few more spots here, and then I'm going to take and grind this in. There's a few spots here I need to stitch yet, but these panels here, I welded this in, and this was starting to blow through, so I'm like, well, I need to move it over a little bit more in order to get some good material. But I got one there and I got one down here. So once that's in, the situation is I'll go ahead and clean all these spot weld areas up real good, because honestly the weld through primer does not weld good, and I've never used it before. But yeah, and then what we've got here is we're going to go ahead and put that panel adhesive on the backside here, which is right up in here. You see this all have to get roughed up a little bit, but that's where it's going to go. And then right through here I'm going to put 3 either spot rivets, or I'm going to put some tack welds. But I think she'll hold just wonderful. There was a little cut here in the cab, so I went ahead and stitched that up. Now that metal's firm. But yeah, yep, there it is. I pulled the air box out because I didn't want to get a bunch of welding slag on that. That's all been rebuilt, so you can take a look. The floor is solid for an 86. This is a California Survivor now. I went through and I pulled even the clutch and the clutch assemblies and all that out, and I went ahead and painted all that. And I got, as you can see, I got some Por 15 here all up on this pinch weld, and I've ordered some white Por 15. I'm gonna come in here and get this because the truck's gonna be white. This is all gonna be Por 15, and then I'm gonna take some good urethane sealer and come in here and seal this all up. This way here, this never leaks again. And then also to mitigate it, I'm going to come up through the back of that light with, I've got some 3-foot wands with fluid film, and I'm going to blow all this in with fluid film. Now this is going to get painted, of course, after I weld it, but this is all going to get fluid filmed in here, so even if moisture did creep in there somehow down the road, it wouldn't rot the panels out, because that fluid film stays like an oil. But yeah, people, I'm pretty happy. I've got the drip rail fitted, and next will be the top skin. And once that's done, that is the only body work on this truck, other than a few little New Jersey dings. I call them New Jersey dings because every time you go to Jersey, someone's dinging your door. But yeah, that's the only spot was on the top of that cab, and I could have bondoed it and you would have never known it. I could have walked the line just like Johnny Cash, but at the end of the day, I can't do it like that. Me personally, I just don't have it in me to be Amish and half-ass things. But yeah, man, you just got to have your confidence up higher than a midget's knees, and you can do this type of work. As you can see, I got the data tag here. That was on. It only had 2 rivets. I mean, originally from the factory, I think they just put 2 there. And there's not even holes down here. But all this in here got cleaned and sanded with some Scotch-Brite. This is all going to get painted, people. This is the only part here that I've already done, this firewall. And as you can see, she's solid. She is solid. And I'm going to put all new, underneath the bottom of it, I'm going to put some white Por 15 on the bottom of the floor. And on the inside of the cab, on this floor, I'm going to go ahead and put the Por 15, the white one. Now, let me just give you a little tip on this Por 15. I had a quart of it on that silver, and you see I opened it back up and I did use it, but there was about an 1/8 inch to 3/16 crust on the top of it, even with a good sealed can. I even put Vaseline on the seal of the can, and let me tell you something, that stuff does not last. It doesn't stick around. If you're going to be 3, 4, 6 months before you apply it on something else again, this is why I don't buy the gallons, I buy the little quarts. Okay, but that's just a hint there. So this floor and the underside is going to be polar white with the 415. The rest of the truck is going to be all, I've got to take some 180 and some maybe some 320 and go over this whole truck and find any of the little dings, and we're going to go ahead and address them and fix them. But you can see these are just, this is California. This truck is not tore up. And I'm going to go ahead and put this baby in, once I'm done, I'm going to put it in epoxy primer. We're going to go with a gray epoxy primer, and we'll go ahead and we'll get her ready for paint, people, because come spring, this truck's going to be on the road, and she's going to be going down the road, and I'm going to really be loving it, to be honest with you. But yeah, there it is. I know a couple of my YouTubers been asking me how am I going to get this going to get this top back on, but as you see, now this is not a new panel. I actually stitched them in. You can see where it rotted. Those panels there were a little punky. So I replaced those, and if you look, I took painstakingly time, and I have a good reveal all the way down there, so it's not bent and twisted. And the key to that is to take your welds and stitch them slowly. Don't just run a bunch of heat on a panel, it'll twist it. But I went over to Harbor Freight and got me a bunch of these little clamps, and I got more on my bench. But yeah, people, the situation here, you can see the silver right here. This is as hard as I've ever seen. That 415 works really nice. But yep, that's the deal, and we're gonna keep you updated on this this journey with this Dodge. And here's the deal: these here, you have got to sand them before you put the top down. Now, like I said, this one here is going to get the, there's no way I can weld this. I come in here with a disc and I cut all this and painted it afterwards, but to get them, the seams out. Now, a lot of people don't do that, and this was kind of my idea, and I said, let me try this because, you know, my nephew, he does a lot of restorations, and I remember him telling me that a lot of times on a pickup truck or a car panel, they will, instead of tack welding and welding all the way around, it's tedious and time consuming. With the way technology is, they've actually come up with this body adhesive, body panel adhesive. And hold on, let this guy go by. And he told me that they don't even weld them no more. They just put that body panel adhesive on, and I think he told me this, and I've also heard this from other sources, but when they've tried to take those off later on, if someone wrecks a panel and they've got to get that off with the body panel adhesive, you pretty much shred the metal getting it off. Okay, so that should tell you something. So on the back of that cab, there's a couple spots about 18 inches. I'm just going to put that body panel adhesive, and when I set that top down, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run some nice tape over the top to hold it firm. And then I'm going to come up front along this pinch weld on the front part of the cab. I'll go ahead and clamp that all down, let that harden up, that adhesive, and then I'm going to go through and I'm just going to take my time and just spot weld all them spot welds back. And when I'm all done with that, I got to come in the top of that drip rail with a modern adhesive, like it's a trim caulking is what it is. And the older stuff, it gets so hard and brittle. And then, you know, this truck's almost 40 years old, people. Okay, let's be honest, it survived. Okay, so a lot of the newer trucks, they don't have the drip rails on them. Okay, they don't have that drip rail. Probably for that reason, that a lot of water and stuff, they got to constantly go over them in the past and make sure they didn't have any damage. But we can't go back to 1986. This is 2022. We can't go back and ask them to change it out. So what we've done is we're bringing this up to a point that says We did this. We brought this back when a lot of people would have just bondoed it and said, you know, that's good for my situation, but it's not good. Bondo's not made for that. You want that to be stitch welded back in. You want the metal to be strong and held up so that any kind of top coating, skim coats of Bondo where you're doing imperfections, they're not cracking and coming off. But I plan on using the truck. I plan on working it, and you know, I want to be able to know that when I'm in a rainstorm that I don't have water coming up through the cab, okay? And I'm just lucky that this was a California truck, because had this been somewhere in the northeast, it probably would have been gone by now. So it's a bonus, people. It's a bonus. But that's what we've got, and that's the deal on the drip rail. Let's take one last look at it. Oh, and here's the situation. Max Pro. If you need to stay cool in the summertime, Max Pro is your fan. You can get them at Home Depot. You cannot get them at Lowe's. That much I'll say. But the Max Pro is a good fan. It's got 2 speeds and it tilts up and down. So if you're working and you're on a ladder, you can tilt that baby up, and it's just like it's the next best thing to air conditioning. Let me tell you that. And you know, back in the day, that's all people had. So I enjoy the hot weather myself, actually. But Max Pro. But that's the deal, people. We got the drip rail started. It's fitted, and we are not going to stop here. That much I guarantee. All right, this is Bry. I'm out. I'm over at the compound. I got to make some sausage. Bye.